Did you know that digital planning can be about so much more than just calendars and day-to-day work? I'm going to show you what I mean today here on More Designs. There are so many people out there that'll tell you the benefit of keeping a daily journal, taking a few minutes to write down what you're feeling, doing mindfulness exercises, even just having some fun scrapbooking different memories and things that are going on. Most of those people out there will grab an actual notebook and take pen to paper. And I think that's great, except I never have my notebooks around me. I do, however, have my iPad with me pretty much all the time because my planner is already on my iPad. So today I want to jump into my iPad with all of you and show you how I use my iPad as I would have used an actual pen and paper notebook. Make sure you take a minute, pause this video, grab a copy of your own digital notebook below, because then you're going to be able to follow along and do all these things with me. Everything we're doing today, I'm doing for completely free, with the exception of actually owning the GoodNotes app. If you don't have a GoodNotes app, that is something that you'll need to purchase. Before we begin, take a minute to subscribe to this channel and like this video. Now, let's jump in. So before we get started, I want to pull up this new digital journal that I created. This is something that I've created for you guys as well, totally free to use. Just check out the link down below and you can grab your own copy. You're simply going to import it into whatever app you use for digital planning. In my case, I always go to GoodNotes, so I'm going to pull this into my GoodNotes app. And this is a super basic journal. It has a cover, and then as you open up the cover, you have either blank paper, grid paper, boxes, or lines. And down at the bottom, there's these cute little icons that bring you to whichever kind of paper it is, and so then you can insert whatever paper you like. And if you're fairly new to GoodNotes, I'll show you how to quickly add and insert that paper into your planner. So if you click these 4 boxes above, and let's say that we want to insert a blank page, I'm going to click on that, duplicate it, and then drag it up to where I am. And you can do that with any of these kinds of pages. I do recommend you leave these last 4 pages empty, that way you can duplicate them, so don't create over them. And again, this is yours, free to use. Just use the link down below and you can get started as well. So let's take a minute just to talk about some of the different things that you can be doing within your journal. I actually spent years using a bullet journal prior to diving into digital journaling, and through my years I discovered that really it's a matter of whatever you want to use the space for. There really is no limit to your imagination. So just to give you some ideas, so you could write about what books you've read and give little mini reviews. You could keep track of your day-to-day life. You can use it for growth tracking if you have new habits you're trying to form or breaking old habits. That's a great place to do this in. You can do a lot of mindfulness exercises, so taking time to write down what you're grateful for, being present in the moment, all that kind of stuff. And the other thing that I love in digital planning way more than bullet journaling is actually scrapbooking, because you can bring so much into it. And this is just some ideas. There's really so much you can do within this notebook. That's kind of the beauty of the blank space, is you get to do what you want with it. So today we're gonna do the first and the last on this list, but the principles and stuff I'll show you can do with any of them. I'm gonna start by actually doing the scrapbooking, and I want to show you how I use both Pinterest and another app to create some really unique spreads completely free. So I'm going to start by pulling up my Pinterest board, and I'll make sure my Pinterest is linked below, because within it I actually have a journals add-ons board, and you can find so much on Pinterest. This is just one spot that I house it, and it's a whole bunch of things that I can easily add on to any of my digital planners. Now, one thing I try to be careful of is some people put their digital stickers on Pinterest with no watermark or anything, which makes it very easy to crop. So hint, if you're one of those people, do a watermark or something so people can't steal it. I don't like to do that anyway. I always watch for that and try not to use things that people are trying to sell as digital stickers online, but there are still tons of images that you can have fun with. Even this blank piece of paper, if I pull it up online, I can simply copy it. And the one downside of this is you can't copy images directly from Pinterest. You have to pull it up into the browser and then hold my finger down and paste. And now I can use this image as part of my design, and I don't have to use it as a square. I can grab my freehand tool and kind of have some fun with turning this into a unique shape. So I'm going to create kind of like a corner piece. Hit done, and now I've got a little corner piece for my spread. So now I'm going to dive back into that Pinterest board again, see if there's some other images that I want to add. So I love this little taped on flower image. So right now I'm just kind of decorating. I haven't really gotten to the scrapbook image part, and I'm just playing around until I like how things look. The next thing you want to do is actually pull in images. And to do that, you're going to click on this little picture tool up at the top, and you'll be able to grab anything on your camera roll. My son actually just turned 3 months, so I'm going to create a cute little spread just to celebrate the fact that he just turned 3 months. And I think what I'll do is I'll add the pictures of him at 1 month, 2 months, and 3 months, and then maybe write a little bit about what's new as a 3-month-old. And those of you with kids at home that are looking at him going, my goodness, he's tiny. Yes, he is. He was a preemie. He was born at 4 pounds. He is now up to 10 and making steady growth, but still very, very tiny. And just so you all know, I got these pictures onto my iPad by using AirDrop from my phone. I don't actually have very many personal photos on my iPad, so I just AirDropped the ones I wanted to use over to my iPad to use. And now that I have my 3 pictures in, I'm gonna go in and decorate it some more. And remember these flowers I put on before, which means now they're gonna be underneath those pictures. So I'm going to simply hold down on the top arrow and create a new one of this, which will now be on top of everything. So I'm starting to like how this looks. So now my next step is I'm going to grab my text tool and just create a little bit of the background information. And for those of you who are newer to GoodNotes, once you select the text tool, a color wheel will pop up. You can choose custom colors in a range of ways. They have some preset ones. You can also put in a color code, and you can just use the color wheel to find a color you like. And I'm going to take a little bit of time just to kind of journal what 3 months looks like. Alright, once you're done, grabbing the blue dots on the end allows you to reshape the text box, which means text will go on to the next line so I can fit it into my space. And I still want to add a little something on top of that pink paper I added initially. I want to kind of find some sort of cute clip art that I can put on there that actually says 3 months. So I'm just going to literally go to Google Images, type in 3 months, and scroll through until I find one that I like. Now, so far with all the images that we've picked, I've been very lucky. All of them have had transparent backgrounds, but that is not always the case. And there is a little bit of a workaround for that. All right, I think this might be a winner. I love that it's neutral. I don't love the fact that there's a background. So what I'm going to do is add it to my photos. And then I want to bring you into another app that I use. And this app is totally free called Eraser. And then I'm going to pull up this image within this Eraser app. And down at the bottom, I'm going to click Erase. And you'll see a little icon that says target area. And then anytime you click on a color, it's going to erase that completely, which means you're getting a transparent background. And you can tell because you now have that gridded thing in there. Once you've gotten rid of the background, you're going to click the little arrow, and yes, ads will pop up. That's what makes it free. And simply save it to your camera roll. Now I'm going to pop back into GoodNotes, and now I'll be able to add that image without the background, which means it's going to look really cool on top of this pink paper. I love it. So anytime you have an image that has a background and you don't want it to have that background, that is an amazing tool. I use it all the time, totally free. You just have to live with the ads every now and then. So here I have my little 3-month spread of baby Calvin getting bigger. And you could dedicate an entire journal to something like this where you're just tracking your child's growth or what's going on in your life, but it doesn't always have to be about decorating and fancy spreads. So there are some very simple lined spreads as well as lined spreads with boxes, and I actually love to use these specifically for books that I'm reading or have read. So right now I'm in the middle of reading this Contagious book, which I'm actually reading for my business. And I just finished reading Ready Player 2, which is a sequel to Ready Player 1, if you're interested. And so I like to pop them down in there and then just grab my pen and write about them. And I actually have an entire notebook full of just the books that I've read. I like to put when I finish them, what I thought of them, why I liked them, why I didn't like them, all that kind of stuff. Just in case you haven't read this book and you're interested, I'm going to quickly fast forward through this part of it. Ready Player 1 was probably one of my, don't want to say one of my favorite books, but it was a really good book. And I had been counting down till Ready Player 2 came out. And Ready Player 2 was good, but it wasn't great. Personal opinion. So if you're interested, if you're into that dystopia kind of genre, which is by far probably my favorite book genre, definitely worth checking out. Then the last thing I always like to do whenever I'm writing about books is I always like to give it a star review. So I'm going to grab a star. It looks pretty. Copy it. I think in this case, I would give it about 3 stars. So we're going to copy and paste this 3 times. In case you're wondering, I think Ready Player 1 is worth 5 stars. Personal opinion. And there you go. And so I have an entire notebook dedicated to just doing this, writing about books I've read and keeping track of it. And of course, scrapbooking is another option, as well as just, you can do anything with your notebooks. I'd love to hear what you guys like to use your digital journals for. What do you like to journal? What do you keep track of? Tell me all about it in the comments.